Good evening, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about the use effects hook. And use effects is a reactor just like use state, but it's not used for state management. It is usually used when you want to run a function in response to something changing in your app. So I'm going to give you a couple of few examples of when that happens or when that can happen. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an H1. Yeah. I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Then inside here, I'm going to use this use state, right? And okay, before then, I'm going to create a div, and inside this div, I'm going to create three buttons. It will make some sense in a bit. So this is one button, and we're just going to copy and paste it 2 more times. Okay, we have that copied and pasted, right? And what I'm going to do now is use this use state to create a new object and we're going to call this use state function rather. So we have use state, right? And right now use state, I'm just going to put it to post. And we're going to use array destructuring to pull out. So maybe content and set content, right? Content and set content. So right here, we're going to create an onClick, and inside this onClick, I'm going to do click handler. So just onClick, click handler, onClick, click handler. Okay, next thing I was supposed to do is create. Okay, before this, I'm just going to put posts, right? Post and right here comment, and right here is going to be maybe rating. So that's what we're going to create here. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to create those functions. So click const click handler is equals to a function. Then inside this function, what we're going to do is set content. I'm going to set content to what? Okay. Okay. To make it easier, let me remove this. And right here, instead of passing in the name, we can just call the function here. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to call the function here. So I'm just going to do set content directly to posts. Then yeah, set content to comment as a string. And here we're going to do set content again. Set content, I'm going to set it to rating. Okay, if everything is working, what that means, chill, let me refresh. Okay, there's an error somewhere. Let's go back to our code and find out what the problem is. So going back to our code, I can't see any problem now. Okay, I've seen a problem. So this is supposed to be a function. Supposed to be a function. Then inside this function, we then call set content. This is how it's meant to be. So I'm just going to copy this, Control C, and paste it in the other two. So having these three buttons, now these three buttons are there. So inside this H1, I'm just going to output content, right? So what then happens is when you click on comment, okay, sorry, I haven't done this. Then for rating, it's the exact same thing. So what that means, when you click on comments, change comments, click on rating, changes to rating, click on post, it changes back to post. So the reason why I wrote all of this down, right, is to show you how this can be useful when you're using the use effect. So right here, we're going to call use effects. And use effect takes two parameters. The first parameter it takes is a function. So we're going to put in a function right here. I'm going to leave it empty for now, and the next parameter is an array. I'm going to talk about that array a little bit later. So in this use effect, what we're going to do is we're going to call a function or call something, or rather a function. When use effect is called, there's a function that's supposed to be here. So the way use effect works is that use effect is called in the beginning when your app starts, right? There's something called mounting of a component. So in this case, when this app starts, the app.js components or app component is going to be mounted. And on mount, meaning that when that app component is mounted, this function will be run. So just to show you quickly, what I'm going to do is console. I'm just going to console.log. So I'm going to console.log mounted. So just to show you in the console, let me refresh. So you can see mounted, right? It's called once the app starts. So meaning that if you have an API call and what is on screen depends on that API call, you can use effects to get data from that API endpoint without actually having to click or anything on the app. Okay, so like when the component is mounted, this first function is called. Then when the component unmounts, there's something called a cleanup function. So it's used when the component is unmounted, right? So yeah, all you have to do is return, and we're going to return a function. And this function is called the cleanup function. It is run when the component unmounts, basically. So yeah, so what we can do inside here, instead of console, okay, apart from this, we're also going to set okay. Then okay, in this return statement, we're going to console.log unmounted to show you how it works. Console.log unmounted. So it consoles the logs unmounted, right? And since that's done, let's go to this array. What this array does is that if anything this array changes, it calls this function again. So we can put in some parameters here that might change, and when it changes, the function is called. So the only thing that might change in this app as in its current state is content. Because when we click on the button, we set content to a new value. So contents can change. So what this means is that if we go back here, let's refresh. We have mounted, unmounted, then mounted back. If we click on comments, it goes unmounted, then mounted. Click on rating, goes unmounted, then mounted. This first one that is mounted and unmounted before mounted is because of where is it? Because initially this we are using use state set to post, and when that happens, this entire app gets unmounted and mounted back. So if I am right, if we call okay, we can't do that because of this content. Okay, so basically, as I said, use effects will be run when something changes. So in this case, when comment changes, it's when content changes, it unmounts then remounts again. When rate changes, it unmounts then remounts again. So this is used for, this is a cleanup function. It is particularly useful when you like set timeouts or you subscribe to an API call. Before you move on with your code, you have to like unsubscribe or something so that it does not use resources as much. In the way I understand it though. So with that being said, let me show you a practical example. So going to a practical example, we're going to call an API. For now, to remove this return, so we're going to call an API, and that API is, we're going to use fetch, the fetch API to do that. So we'll do fetch, right? And I'm just going to type out the address, but I'm going to use template literals instead of strings. So it's https colon slash slash JSON placeholder, that is JSON PLACE placeholder HOLDER, JSON placeholder dot typical TYPI code typicode.com slash, then we can start putting in all the parameters. I think that's what they are called, but in this case all we're going to do is content, yeah, content. So we're going to do this, right? And since this returns a promise, I hope my code, hope there's no typo. Since it's going to return a promise, we have to do dot then, right? And inside this dot then block, you're going to call a function with a response as a parameter, right? And inside this function, we're going to return response.json, right? And we're going to call dot then again, and this time it's going to be JSON, right? And what we're going to return is okay, we're going to console.log JSON, right here, console.log JSON. So hopefully all of that works. So I'll fix the issue, the error. So back to what I was saying. Inside this use effect, you're calling fetch. And what fetch does is that it calls this API endpoint to get some data, and then you have a response. Then you have your JSON, and all we're doing is logging into the console. So what that means is that For instance, let's refresh first. You should notice the end of this API endpoint, that the end of it has content, meaning that this whole thing will be slash content, or that is slash post slash comments or slash rating. So if we refresh, you notice that we have this, which is an array of objects, right? We click on comments. I think I made a mistake. Comments. So we click on comments, click on posts, comments, we have an array, right? So you get, it changes based on what you click. So with this API endpoint now, you can call this API each and every time. This content changes by pressing the button. So we can go back. So let's go back. I want to go back to a point to show something. I think I've gone back too far. Okay. So I want to change this rating to users. Right? And change this to users. So with these two changed, right? What I now want to do is I want to create a new constant. I will call this items and set items. I will create it to use states, and at first it's going to be an empty array. So what we'll now do here is we'll create a div. Inside this div, all we'll do is I will map items was map, putting a new stuff inside, which is item, right? And what we're going to do is that inside here I'm going to return a pre. And inside this pre, what we're going to do now is, in this pre, what we're going to do is call JSON the stringify. And we're going to stringify item. Okay, that's not working. Okay. We never use set items. Okay. So I'm going to set items to this JSON. Yeah. So going back here, we can see now that some objects are printed. Let me change this here. So some objects are printed, and each time we click on this button, it changes. The object there changes because the strings that are found from that on screen, or in this case, this is what is printing it out, is gotten from item, and item is mapped from items. And items comes from here, and we're setting items inside the use effects. So honestly, I understand it, but I'm really bad at teaching it. So if you don't understand or feel like you need more practice, I'm going to link a video in the description that you can refer to learn more about the use effect hook. But I think that's basically, it's not really so hard to understand. I'm just the person not probably not explaining it properly. So that's been it till tomorrow. Goodbye.